I'm Malcolm Jolly for Good Food Revolution with Lorraine Simpson from the Concierge Travel Group. And among other things, you're a travel expert, Lorraine, and you're an expert in a particular kind of travel. Tell me about that.
Well, travel is all relative. I mean, travel is all about the stories, and I guess I am more of a storyteller than a traveller, because I think that everything in these days is all about experiences and stories, and I'm a bit like a realtor of travel, if you like. So you can come to me and you can say, okay, I would like to do this, this and this, but I've no idea where I want to go. Because if you want to buy a house, you're not going to say, I would like to buy 32 College Street. You're going to say, I'd like to buy a house, I'd like it to look like this and feel like that, and this district and that whatever. Kitchen has to look like this. And you'd give a list of your wants and requirements to your realtor. A realtor's job would then be, oh, I can find you a house, or yes, I know somewhere that might fit. So as travel experts and as dream makers, bucket list providers, that sort of thing, it's our job to be able to say, I know just the place for you, rather than what do you want to spend and where do you want to go? Because then you're just an online booker, if at all. So, and that's the service that's already available. People can already go online, can already say, I would like a flight, to go there. And to be honest, I sometimes go online and do exactly that. I booked a flight online last night. So it's more about being able to dig into your own personal experiences. Last year, I did 340,000 kilometers in research.
Wow.
But it was more, I was taking Massimo Capra, for example, to places. So I needed to know where I was taking them to. I can't just wing it, because if I do, then I'm not worth my salt, really.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Chef Capra, because there was a culinary tie-in to this interview. Now you're going with him all over Southeast Asia, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Which you think, well, you'd be going to Italy with Massimo, but
yeah.
Why? How did this trip happen? Because it sounds really kind of neat.
It's cool. I think it's a little out of the box. So Massimo is all about Italy. He's so funny. Everything he says, every food originated in his home country and potentially even in his hometown. So he does make me laugh often. But I said to him, Massimo, what's on your bucket list? And he said, I would love to go to Asia. And I said, well, why? He said, well, because I think, it's a place that I haven't really explored, and I'd love to learn more about the food, and I'd love to learn more about the people. And he's such a big, round character, he's loud and boisterous. And so I said, okay, let's do it. So off I went, literally a year ago this week, and I sort of researched. I found Michelin star restaurants in Bangkok. I found a river cruise that goes all the way from Ho Chi Minh City up to Cambodia, to Siem Reap. And then we're going to go on the river cruise. We're tasting a whole bunch of amazing foods along the way. We're doing this floating market. We're going to have dinner on a boat on the Chao Phraya River. And then we're going to another restaurant called Isaiah, which is one of the famous restaurants in Bangkok. So the whole thing is really cool that we get to do all this really unique stuff with a chef, and also with a chef who also wants to explore the Asian culture and the Asian food. Because as a chef, he has a different take on it, but for us, we want to know what he thinks,
And I mean, my experience with him is that he's an event. He walks into a room, there's energy, which if you're a traveler on your own, you might be intimidated by language, by being in a strange place. Even if you're a really dedicated, open-minded one, it's hard to know where to go, how to establish a rapport with people in a strange land. So this sounds really cool. So how did you get your job?
So, there's a story. I ended up in Canada in 2005, and my husband passed away of cancer. So I ended up with 4 children, no money, and an unfinished basement. So I decided that I was going to start a travel business from my unfinished basement. Of course, nobody's coming to your door saying, "Excuse me, is there a travel agent in your basement?" It would be good if they did, but they don't. And so I decided I was going to go out and start selling group travel and lead group travel. Particularly at the time, I did a lot of weddings, but groups in general. I was an event planner before, so I could do the groups. And basically, we just arranged all these groups, and it grew and grew and grew. And in 2011, I sold out to a large multinational company in Canada and started doing Culinary again, because I was a chef. And I opened a restaurant. But, you know, my love is travel. My heart is travel. We were in Italy last week. And honestly, we did 15,600 steps. And I'm not a fit person. You can see that. I don't profess to be fit. I was dying. I tell you, my legs did not feel like they were even attached to my body anymore. And we're just about to walk back to the hotel. And I see this alleyway, and down the alleyway I see a little fishmonger, and then I see a store with all of these Parmesan wheels all lining the wall. And I said, "Wow. We have to go down there." He said, my boyfriend said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I have to do it because I am an explorer, and I don't care how much I heard or anything. It's a drug to me. It's a passion, and I have to go and explore, and I have to see what's down there, and I have to take pictures, and that's what I love." So wherever it is, wherever I go in the world, it's all about A, about the food, and B, about the discovery and the exploration, and to be able to find the people and the things that they eat and the things that they do on a day-to-day basis, their culture, and learn about it. It fires me. It's a drug.
And speaking of food and culinary, you're also doing some trips around wine as well.
Yes.
Which is
yes.
dear to our hearts at Good Food Revolution.
Do. Yes.
And I mean, these sound great because they're insider trips. And as a wine journalist, I go on these trips as an insider, and it's a wholly different experience than being a tourist, because I do that too.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's going on there.
Yes, so I'm working with several different people, some wineries, some wine importers like Jerry Gain from Riverdale Wines, and we basically will put groups together for the winery or for the people and create a wine tour. Now, working with people like Jerry Gain from Riverdale, he's got John Szabo, who's going to be doing this tour in Greece. Right. And of course, anything like that, it's an insider's. You know, you actually travel with an expert. So the expert says to you, this wine is da-da-da-da-da, and this is why, and this is how. And so rather than, it's a bit like having a history buff who takes along the most important history professor that they could ever think of along their travels with them, and every time they look at something like, this is the Acropolis, actually, do you want to know about the Acropolis, you know? So it's a great way of doing it. And of course we're also doing an Italian trip too with Riverdale Wines, and that's going to be in September, just after the harvest, because it's an early harvest in Tuscany these days. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do but we are going to visit Jerry's wines that he imports. So people like Cantonate, which is just, I tell you, the best thing I've ever tasted. It was divine. So we get to do a backstage tour. You know, you don't just go to a bar and taste $3 wine, you know, taste again, and thank you very much, bye-bye. No, this is, let's go into the cellar, let's taste it out of the barrel, let's sit and have a winemaker's dinner, and, you know, things like that. So it's a very cool way to travel. So,
well, it sounds amazing, Lorraine. I think you've got the best job in the world, and you've started a new one as well. As you're going to be on Cityline TV.
Yes.
What are you going to be talking about?
So I'm going to be their travel expert, and speaking about anything to do with travel, really. This morning we were on Cityline. I was on Cityline talking about tips for cruises. How do you choose a cruise? What kind of cruise do you do? And the same thing as I said earlier, be a realtor. You have to know what you're talking about, So tips for that. And then also bucket list. I mean, what's on your bucket list? I told them my bucket list is Africa, and we're going to make that happen before the end of the year. I'm going to go to South Africa. We're going to do South African wines, and we're also going to do a safari as well. So that's my personal bucket list, and we're going to do that this year.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I look forward to finding out more about it. Lorraine, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My daddy was about